Think it, make it, trade it. More than a trading platform. We welcome you to visit us at www.prodigiorts.com. Hello and thank you for joining us. This is a tutorial on how to create, backtest, and deploy strategies in the all-new Prodigio 5.0. In this video tutorial, I'll be walking you through this process step by step so you have a clear understanding how this automated system works inside and out. So let's get started. What makes Prodigio 5.0 unique and truly sets this platform apart from all others, aside from many of the other great features and components, is Wizard Lab. With Wizard Lab, you can create customized strategies by using our proprietary drag-and-drop Wiz tools. You don't need to know how to be a programmer or how to write code to do this. Once you have turned your trade ideas into strategies, you can backtest them against historical data and then choose to deploy your strategies one of two ways: RTS strategies or trade optics. RTS strategies is a fully automated trading system where RTS strategies will buy and sell for you based upon the buy and sell parameters within your selected strategy. Strategies can also be deployed in trade optics, which is a real-time filter which uses the parameters of the selected strategy to filter through a specified symbol list. Trade optics will provide a trade alert if and only if all the criteria within the deployed strategy have been met. There are four components that work together which make this automated system so powerful. You need to verify that each and every one of these components is configured to your exact specifications. These four components are the Auto Trade Enable buttons, Risk Management, RTS Strategies, and Wizard Lab. 1. Enable/Disable Auto Trading. The Enable/Disable Auto Trading button remains static at the top of the platform, which gives you the ability to enable or disable automated system on the fly with a single click of your mouse. Additionally, you have the ability to enable or disable long positions or short positions using the Enable/Disable Long and Enable/Disable Short buttons that also remain static at the top of the platform. Risk Management. Risk management is one of the core elements of how the automated system will perform using the selected strategy based upon the risk management settings. To access this panel, left-click on the Settings button, which remains static at the top of the platform. With the Risk Settings panel, you have the ability to control how the automated system will buy or sell for you using the selected strategy or strategies based upon drawdown settings, account allocation, per trade allocation, max trade allocation, and trade filters, which are all located here in the Risk Management Settings panel. Note, the Risk Management Settings panel applies only to automated trading. These settings do not apply to manual trades or overall account risk management. To learn more about each of these functions within the Risk Management Settings panel, watch the tutorial titled Introduction on How to Configure Risk Settings at www.prodigiorts.com/video archive. 3. RTS Strategies. In the RTS Strategies panel, you can choose which strategies to deploy or undeploy, as well as defining an expiration date at which the automated system will discontinue automated trading actions, and which symbol list each strategy will be scanning through. The Strategies button opens the Auto Trading Management panel, giving you the ability to select which strategies to deploy and which symbol list to have the selected strategy scan through. The Auto Trading Management window includes four sections: Available Strategies, Selected Strategies, Description, and Parameters. 4. Wizard Lab. There are four sequential tabs within Wizard Lab, each tab representing a necessary step to create, backtest, and then deploy a strategy. These tabs are titled Step 1, Rule Builder, Step 2, Strategy Builder, Step 3, Backtest, Step 4, Deploy Strategy. In the Rule Builder, the user creates a rule or rules that contain criteria which is used to produce a true or false signal. There are three sections within Rule Builder. We have the main menu, the Wiz Tools, and the Canvas. Wiz Tools consist of hundreds of essential studies, parameters, and operators that give you the ability to build trade ideas easily by dragging them onto the canvas and then connecting them together. Within Wiz Tools, there are 11 folders, each containing tools which provide different functionality that correspond with the name of the folder they are located in. So let's go through them from top to bottom. The My Wizard Lab folder contains rules and strategies created by the user. If the user creates additional folders, they will also be located in the My Wizard Lab folder. The Rule Templates folder contains pre-built rules that can be used as a starting point or as is within a strategy. Templates can be modified to your preference and also aid you in understanding how rules are constructed. The Trade Actions folder contains one Wiz tool titled End Signal, which defines the completion of a rule and is absolutely necessary when creating a rule. The Source Data folder contains tools that provide market data, which in most cases are necessary for creating a rule. The Fundamental folder contains fundamental criteria that can be used to further refine a rule according to a company's financial condition. The Logical Operator folder contains logical operators such as and, or, greater than, cross below, and many more that are used to connect two or more source studies and performs the selected logic. The Time folder contains tools that allow the user to specify a time and date. The Math folder contains mathematical operators. The Technical Analysis folder contains technical analysis studies. The Patterns folder contains pattern recognition tools identifying the most commonly used candlestick patterns. And the Adapters folder contains tools that are used to extract the value output of a source study. Step 2. Strategy Builder. In Strategy Builder, you create a strategy by selecting a rule and adding the desired criteria for entry and exit management. You must specify entry and exit criteria for the automated system to abide by. There are 3 sections within Strategy Builder. We have My Rules, the Workspace, and Trade Orders. My Rules contains a list of valid rules that you have created in Step 1 Rule Builder, which are available for entry and or exit criteria. The Workspace contains 3 tabs. We have Entry Rule, Exit Rule, and Add to Position. In the Entry Rule tab, you must drag a desired rule or rules from the My Rules section that will be the entry criteria used for the automated system to abide by. More than one rule can be selected as the entry rule and logically combined together using logical and, or statements. In the Exit Rule tab, you must drag a desired rule or rules from the Wiz tools that will be the exit criteria used for the automated system to abide by. More than one rule can be selected as the exit rule and logically combined using logical and or statements. An exit rule is not necessary to complete a valid strategy. You have the option to use a rule as exit criteria if you choose not to add one or more order types as the exit management criteria using trade orders. The Add to Position tab allows you to add an additional rule or rules to a strategy to buy/sell additional shares of the already open position that was triggered by the entry rule. Trade orders offer many features that provide you with absolute control of exit management by using the Add Order button. Step 3. Backtest. With backtesting, you can test the performance of a strategy against historical data and then analyze the results in great detail so that adjustments can be made to optimize the strategy if necessary. Step 4. Deploy strategy. Within the Deploy Strategy tab, there are 2 shortcuts that navigate to the RTS Strategies tab or the Trade Optics tab, where you can select which strategy to deploy. Now, let's create a rule. Once we've completed building this rule, we're going to implement this rule into a strategy, backtest it, and then deploy it in real time. So let's go step by step. Let's go into Wizard Lab. We have 4 sequential tabs in Wizard Lab. Let's start with Step 1 Rule Builder. We're going to create a rule that triggers when the open price 10-period RSI is less than 25 and the open price crosses below the open price 20-period lower Bollinger Band using a 10-minute time interval. We will use this rule as the entry criteria of our strategy. Feel free to pause this video at any time so you can build it along with me. Let's go into our Wiz tools. Open the Source Data folder, left-click, and then drag the OHLC Wiz tool onto the canvas. Here you can see that the time interval is set to daily, and we're going to change that to 10-minute simply by double-clicking on the word daily and then left-click on 10-minute from the drop-down menu. We've added this time-saving search field here in our Wiz tools that I'm going to use rather than opening up each individual folder and then locate the Wiz tool that we need. The next Wiz tool that we need is the Open adapter, so I'm going to type in the word Open into the search field, and anything that contains the word Open will be available. Here in the Adapters folder is the Open adapter, so let's go ahead and drag that onto our canvas. Now you want to click and drag from the output of the OHLC and drop it onto the input of the open adapter, so we use the open price of the OHLC. Note, by default, the OHLC will use the closed value if not specified. Next, let's grab the RSI study from the technical analysis folder. Also drag it onto the canvas to the right of the open adapter and connect the output of open onto the input of RSI. Let's change the periods from 14 to 10, and now we'll need a less than logical operator from the logical operators folder and place that to the right of the RSI study. Connect the output of RSI to input A of less than. Now we're going to specify the value we want the 10-minute open 10-period RSI to be less than by using a constant tool from the source data folder. So let's drag the constant tool onto the canvas. Place that below the RSI study, change the value of the constant tool to 25, and then connect the output of constant to input B of less than. Okay, so we're halfway there. I'd like to show you a time-saving copy and paste shortcut that I'm always using. Let's select OHLC and Open by clicking on the canvas and dragging over the two whiz tools. When they are both highlighted in blue, right-click on one of them and select Copy from the menu. Then left-click on the canvas about here or so, right-click and paste. Great. Next, we need a cross-below logical operator. Let's place that to the right of Open and connect the output of Open to input A of cross below. Let's copy OHLC and Open again and paste that about here. Now we need a Bollinger Band study, so let's drag that to the right of the Open adapter, connect the output of Open to the input of the Bollinger Band, and then change the periods from 14 to 20. What we need to do next is specify which Bollinger Band we want the cross to recognize. If we didn't specify which band, by default, it would reference the middle band, which is the moving average. However, we're going to use a lower value adapter to specify the lower band and then connect the output of the lower value adapter to input B of the cross below tool. Next, let's grab an AND logical operator. I'll place that to the right about here and connect the output of less than to input A and then the output of cross below to input B. So you can see how it's all coming together. Finally, we need an end signal, which is 100% necessary when completing a rule. You cannot have a valid rule without an end signal. I'll say that one more time. You cannot have a valid rule without having an end signal. Notice, before I connect this last tool, that the indicator here is red, signifying that the rule is not valid. When we make this final connection using the end signal, this indicator will turn green, indicating that the rule is then valid. Now, the very last thing we always want to do is save our rule by using the Save As button here. And we'll title this BBRSI long. So now our rule is complete and we're going to use it to build our strategy in Step 2 Strategy Builder. So go ahead and click on Step 2 Strategy Builder. You can see that this panel is similar to the look and feel of the Rule Builder. We have our rules. To the right here we have our workspace that contains 3 tabs: Entry Rule, Exit Rule, and Add to Position. You can also add additional exit rules by using this plus button here. At the bottom of the panel we have trade orders. So let's grab the rule we just created here called BBRSI long and drag it into the area here where it says Drag Rule. You can see that once we drop it in place, additional drag rule boxes are displayed so you can add additional rules using logical AND or OR operators. For this demonstration, we are going to keep it simple and only use one entry rule. So let's X out of these here. Also notice that a green row is displayed under the trade orders. This will provide you with all the order information that will take place once the entry rule is triggered. We are going long, so we want to select a buy order. If we were shorting this position, we would simply switch this to a sell order here. And we're going to go in at market price. Next, I'd like you to left click on the Add Order button here. You can see that it has added a sell order. Let's make this a target market order to trigger 2% above the entry price. Click on the Add Order button again, and then let's make this a stop order to trigger at 1% below the entry price. Now our strategy is complete, and all we have to do, of course, is save our work by using the Save As button here. Let's title this My First Strategy Long. Before we move on to Step 3 Backtest, I want to point out that instead of using these 2 sell orders as exit management, we could also use a rule or rules to exit us out of a position. To do this, you would go to the Exit Rule tab and simply drag an exit rule here, and the sell order automatically populates in the trade orders because our entry rule is set to buy. Okay, let's move on to step 3, backtest. Here we have the results table and the side menu. Let's choose the strategy we would like to backtest by left-clicking on the Open button and then select the strategy we just completed called My First Strategy Long. Let's run this strategy against the NASDAQ 100 in raw mode, which basically is telling backtest that we have endless amounts of capital and we'll be able to get in and out of every possible position that is triggered. We'll start this backtest from the first of the year until yesterday. Go ahead and left-click on the Run button and see how our strategy performs. You can see that the status bar is moving along. We have 20 results. Net P&L is negative $136.23, 1 winner, and 7 losers. I like to sort my results by profit and loss, so I'll simply go ahead and click on the header column here where it says profit and loss. And I also want to see how it performed on the chart. And we can do that simply by clicking on the chart button here to chart the symbol BIIB. With Chart Trader Pro, you can add as many studies as you like onto the chart, but by default, it doesn't display any until we add them. Before we add them, we want to verify that the studies we add to our chart has the same parameters as the entry rule of our strategy. So let's quickly go back and see what the parameters are for the Bollinger Band study and the RSI study. The RSI study is set to 10 periods, and it has to be less than 25. And the Bollinger Bands are set to 20 periods. Now let's go back into Chart Trader Pro and left-click on the Studies button, type in RSI, and then click on Select. Here we have the RSI study. And now let's mouse over this little rectangle that says RSI 10. The 10 signifies the number of periods, which is what we have selected within our rule and is what we want. When you mouse over this icon, you can see that the pointer turns into a blue screwdriver, at which point you can now left-click on it and it will bring up the Studies Properties window. Here is where you would change the length of periods if we needed to do so. And I do want to change the oversold line to 25 because our rule triggers when the RSI line is less than 25. This will make it easier for us to identify. Let's add the Bollinger Band study next and make sure the period length is set to 20. Now we can visually see where we entered the position. One more thing I'd like to bring to your attention is you always want to make sure you're looking at the same time interval on your charts as the criteria within your rule. In this demonstration, we're looking at a 10-minute time interval. So we'll go ahead and set this to 10 minutes. Let's go ahead and deploy our strategy in real time. Click on Step 4, Deploy Strategies. These two selections are essentially shortcuts that will take you to either the RSI Strategies tab or the Trade Optics tab that you see here. Remember that once you have a valid strategy, you have two ways you can deploy it. You have the option to deploy it as an automated trading system in RTS Strategies or as a filter in Trade Optics. I'm going to walk you through both options. So let's start with deploying our newly created strategy into RTS Strategies, and then we'll do the same with Trade Optics. So go ahead and left-click on RTS Strategies, and you can see that it took us right to the RTS Strategies tab. Here we have a disclaimer that we ask you to take the time to read. Next, we have the RTS Auto Trading expiration date. We'll have this expire at the end of the week. We can see that it is enabled, and here we have the Strategies button, so go ahead and left-click on it, and this takes us to the Auto Trading Management panel. This panel is separated into 4 sections. We have Available Strategies, Selected Strategies, Description, and Parameters. So let's select the strategy titled My First Strategy Long, and then left-click on the Add button. This will now add the strategy to the Selected Strategies area. And now let's choose which symbol list we want our strategy to scan through. So we have the strategy titled My First Strategy Long selected, and it will be scanning through the NASDAQ 100. So click on the OK button, and now it's officially deployed. If your strategy is triggered and enters you into a position, you will hear this sound. And then you can check the portfolio panel to see detailed information. Next, let's go ahead and deploy the same strategy into Trade Optics. So go ahead and click on the Trade Optics tab. This panel's look and feel is very similar to the RTS Strategies panel. However, we do have an additional button here titled Clear Signals, which does exactly that. It clears signals that populate in the Trade Alerts table here once your strategy has triggered, which you'll see in just a moment. For now, let's left-click on the Strategies button, and this opens up the Trade Optics Management panel. This panel is also separated into 4 sections, and the functionality is identical to the Auto Trading Management panel that we just walked through in RTS Strategies. So let's add a strategy to the selected strategies and choose the S&P 500. Then let's click on the OK button. Here we can see that the strategy has been deployed, and if and only if all of the criteria has been met, you will see trade alerts populate below. I already have another strategy deployed, so you can see how they populate in the trade alerts table. Now, one thing you need to understand. If you have a rule within your strategy that is using a 1-minute OHLC, then Trade Optics will use that particular strategy every 1 minute to scan that specified symbol list. The strategy we built together during this tutorial uses a 10-minute OHLC within the rule, so Trade Optics will run that strategy every 10 minutes. The same applies to 15 minutes, 30 minutes, all the way up to daily OHLCs. That concludes our tutorial on how to create, backtest, and deploy strategies in the all-new Prodigio 5.0. Thank you for joining us, and as always, we can be reached at support@prodigiorts.com.
Nothing contained in this education tutorial video constitutes a solicitation, recommendation, promotion, or endorsement of any particular security, other investment, product, transaction, or investment. We do not give investment advice or advise anyone on the value of securities or other investment instruments. We do not recommend trades or transactions in securities or other financial instruments. Investment-related information we provide is for educational and informational purposes only, and no trade ideas or other references we make to a particular security is a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold that or any other security, any portfolio of securities, or to affect any transaction or investment strategy. None of the information we provide is tailored to your investment needs or the investment needs of any person. We do not guarantee that following any of the information we provide will result in profitable investment activities. We do not warrant or guarantee the accurateness, completeness, or adequacy of the information we provide. Any use of information from this educational tutorial is entirely at your own risk.